Not that I can play it very well. And this is my one that's a high tune. This one sounds like super country. It's not.
Super country.
Yeah,
I like that.
it's not. That's why they call it the Marine Band.
Okay.
It's one of Hollars' types of harmonicas that are a specific kind of sound.
I had a big,
like you can,
big phase of like with musical instruments and harmonicas.
Yeah. What was your instrument?
Just like everything. Like I think we went through like where did we start? Like just like high school, like our elementary school, grade 6, high school band. You're like.
I didn't know you were in band.
No. Yeah. Of course, man. Yeah. Snare drum. That's a big. That was huge. Like percussion.
Okay.
Percussion.
Oh yeah, you're the percussion guy. They need a big guy to bang that drum back there.
Yes. And then our church had a drum set, and typical me, I'm just like, I need that. So like, go ask the Father. Okay, like.
Yeah. I need the most loud instrument possible
so
I can aggravate everybody around me.
Completely down with me playing the drums.
I get it. When I was young, all I ever wanted to fucking do was just aggravate people, compete with people, and then all of a sudden you turn 20 and your frontal lobe starts forming, and you're like, what have I been doing my whole life?
Right.
You know?
And I can vouch for you because like it's crazy that like where we came from, like two separate different sides. Like, you know what I mean?
For sure.
It's just like
but we each had challenges, but they were a little different.
Yes.
For sure. Okay, so I'll just do a quick intro here. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Canadian Talk. This is episode 44. We have on today a guy from my youth who, you know, if I had to put it in a way, if I had to characterize this guy, I would have to say he was always the tough guy. He was the guy that nobody fucked with. He was the guy that kind of everybody looked to keep the peace amongst everybody, you know, when we were young. And but still, you know, usually you see a guy like that and he's an asshole. But this guy, I haven't ever seen him bully a single person. Just one of the most down-to-earth guys I've ever met. I played hockey with him growing up.
Against each other, actually.
Against each other. We were in different zones, and then we moved into the same zone.
Yeah.
The Aces.
Yeah. Aces.
So.
And then, which is crazy, we actually lived on the same block for a while, right out of high school.
Yeah.
Which was super.
The
weird.
Montgomery crowd.
Yeah.
We should start like an ASHL team or something and call it like the Montgomery
Montgomery
Dogs.
Well, even when you were living in the Hamptons there for a while.
Yeah, we did good there, dude.
Yeah.
My mom, like, we left Montgomery, which I fucking hated. We had to sell that house I grew up in my whole life, really. And I was so mad. But she ended up making so much money on, like, skipping from one house to the other. Yep. By the end of it, I was like, all right, I get it. And then I continued her fucking legacy, buying houses and flipping them and stuff.
I can see that. That's awesome. So, that's so crazy. Mm-hmm. And this is awesome that there's this now, and like this is like similar interests.
Yeah,
like different paths, but similar interests. You know,
sure.
How it just like merges so fast.
For sure. So, you said you're thinking about starting a podcast, and that's great. I mean, podcasts are everywhere now. It's kind of like a segmented form of media that kind of cuts the mainstream media into little pieces, and it allows everybody to have a voice, everybody to pick who they want to listen to. It's a great thing. So. That's awesome. But like, what have you been fucking doing?
Yeah, so just trying to stay out of trouble. So like, crazy, like just like with that legendary, the big Rudick, the big bad Rudick, whatever it was in high school, which was like the weirdest persona because like I had that going to parties where people were like, hey, like this guy you don't fuck with, but like I never fought much. Like,
for sure,
you
don't have to when you're the big stick.
Yeah, like,
you don't have
I
to,
never
bro.
Fought, and when I did, and like. Things did get sour and like things did get shaky. You know what I mean? You don't do time in prison because you didn't fight. Like,
exactly.
You don't even do something.
Exactly.
Shady.
And do you want to talk about that at all on this show?
Yeah, 100%. That is.
Or you can save it for your show or whatever.
No, that is.
But what kind of do you have any names in mind yet for your show?
So like I think that's where you start. Like that's for me. I was like concept. What's different? Like what's everybody doing? And then what can I bring different? And like with us being from Saskatchewan. Like you kind of already have it, like and that's why I like reached out to you because like you have that Canadian talk, and that's exactly the route I kind of want to go. But I'm like a little more focused, like Saskatchewan.
There you go,
kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like we have like a select slang here,
exactly.
Like, whether it be Toronto slang, Saskatchewan, like bunny hug, like that shit is funny. Like why do we call it a bunny hug?
Totally.
Like, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that, and like we just say it so casually, and like I'm playing Xbox online with some friends, and like I'm.
What is that if not a gym for comedy, man? Yeah. You're with your friends, you're sitting there, you don't have to, they can't beat you up because they're on the other end at their house.
It's verbal abuse, and I love it. And
me too.
It is great. And so, like, when you're on there, and it's just, like, so fun, and, like, it's just, like, like just their slang. So when I'm like, hey buddy, we're gonna have another hoot, and even a guy from Alberta is like,
what is that?
What is a hoot?
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah,
it's like having a bong rip, and they're just like, they're so thrown off, and it's like for us, it's like, that's what I did for the first time.
The name of it, bro.
Like, that's what I did.
Yeah, I figured the reason, I've tossed around a lot of names, and I was thinking about going with something like kind of abstract, weird, just like, like whatever, just like the chat or the conversation or whatever. And I figured, I was like, we're so young that I don't think that we're there yet. Like, we have to throw in a little cheat code for our first show, I think. That's why I put Canadian Talk, 'cause I was like, I don't have a real perspective outside of Canada.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't presume to have that.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? Like, I shouldn't be going around going like engineering talk or any type of shit because I'm not even a fucking engineer yet.
But the Canadian Talk is what brought me. You know what I mean? I was just like, I'm interested. Like, you got me.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a good
like,
title.
And like, it's not that we were friends by, like, not like.
Yeah, we weren't
friends,
close
but, like,
friends.
it's just,
Let's
but,
talk
like,
more about our background. So
like,
we weren't actually close friends.
Yeah, but like always good acquaintances.
We were around each other.
Each other in the gym, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, hey,
and we
buddy,
respected each other.
Yeah, 100% respect.
Yeah.
It's not like you want to see each other on the blue line. You know what I mean? It's just like, it was very mutual respect. It's
Yeah,
just
for
like,
sure.
And like, maybe that's how the legend was created. Because like, I know my place.
Yeah.
Like, that's like my big thing.
I just wish, who I wish you would have beat the shit out of is BJ. I fucking hate that guy. Do you remember BJ? His name was Brandon. I don't know if you knew his name was BJ.
I do,
We called him BJ.
And see,
But,
like, I was friends with everyone, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like,
Fuck him. Fuck him. I'm not friends with him. I'll throw some people under the motherfucking bus today. We got badass ridicule.
Yeah. I don't care. Yeah, and I'm not scared to speak my mind.
Yeah,
either.
no, I'm just kidding. But he's the only guy I'll throw under the. Other than that, we had a pretty good high school crowd.
Great high school. Like,
no,
Bethlehem was cool that it opened up.
Was good. Dude, we got to be seniors for every year.
I tell you what, I watched Dazed and Confused in grade 9, and I tell you, I freshen people every year.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry to everybody if you're listening. I freshened you. Like, I apologize. Like Brandon Savage, I broke a fence board over his back. Like, that why? Like why did I do that?
Dude, I don't know.
We were still friends. Like, we were still friends after that. It was like, why?
It's
you
part
don't
of
do
growing
that
up.
to your friends.
It's part of growing up
to your friends. It's so funny.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's so funny.
You do it to some of your friends. Doesn't matter.
And and that's how you see who are your friends, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like, it's like, we've always had a really good respect for each other, which is awesome. Mutual, like, respect in hockey. We've always played hockey with each other's sports.
For sure.
And so, like, and now with this, like, when I seen you doing this, and with my common interest that wanting to do a podcast, it's like,
I'm happy to have you on.
Yeah,
I hope you get started on it.
And so, like, back on the name thing,
Keep going.
I have talked about a name, and we have had a name, and like, it's like, I feel like it's a good one.
What is
like,
it?
Hoots and Hollars is the name.
Hoots and Hollars. I
So,
love
like,
it.
Yeah, and like, we have I have a bunch of concepts behind the show, and like I have ideas, and I have stuff.
Yeah, are you gonna try to Are you gonna try to? Because like, I like to keep mine broad. But are you gonna try to get some shticks going? Like, have some segments, like, at the beginning, we do this or that or this. Like, what I like to do, and I'll do it with you later. But at the end, I always do a word association. You know what a word association is? I'll do it with you at the end, but let your brain prepare for it. But but that's all I have for structure. It's just one thing at the end.
And so like my big thing is, like, I wanted to do a live show, and like, I've been talking about it for a couple months, and like, I'm like, you know what? People are blowing up on TikTok, like, and they're getting these like live interactions, and where we succeed, like, for the friends that I'm talking about, like, on the podcast, is like, we're super witty, like, whether it be at the bowling alley, at the club, like, we're very witty.
I know, that's the thing, and you know what? I believe you. I haven't ever hung around with you and seen it too much, but I believe it. I think that there is, and this is the power of podcasts, I think that there's so many funny guys who just never, and actually, there's so many funny guys who never get in front of a mic. That's one thing that this is for. This one here specifically, as you can probably see from my website, is we try to get, like, do you want a beer?
Oh, sure.
Sure. So yeah, you can have two beers. That's part of our show. That's
That's
the other rule is and this is the other rule of every episode. I always forget what I'm talking about. What was I just saying?
Oh, you're talking to the wrong guy here.
Fuck.
Remember them. My show's gonna be called Hoots and Hollars, and that's why like, the big thing is like live. Like, I want to be live, because then you just keep looking, and then the live interaction. Like, that's what I want.
Yeah, my thing is that I try to get, because another group of people that don't get enough time in the spotlight is a lot of like academics. Like, I've met a lot of guys who are like, they'll spend 16 years in university and just never communicate with people, and they'll have all this knowledge and they won't have any channel. So that's kind of, I'm bringing him on here for that. And what's great about live, like what you said, and is that you can talk, and then when it's live, you kind of have something to hide behind. Like, oh, I didn't mean to say that. It was live. And also, if you have that comedy, comedy right now is kind of like the suit of armor that protects you from being canceled.
Yeah.
Or
the big cancel culture.
Yeah, right because if you're a comedian, like the thing that happened with Will Smith, right?
Yeah, that is nuts.
Like, you never see that because comedians are kind of like a protected class.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
that was like, yeah, that's unreal. Like, that is such a crazy thing.
What happened? He just walks up on stage, fucking smacks him. You can't do that. But so that's live. Of course, you can't hit a comedian live, but like even in shows, if you're creating content, it's all about. Oh, I know. We'll talk about. But when you're making content like this, and there's so much of it, you need to have. People are going to try to cancel you.
100%.
And if your intention isn't, it's all about intention, right? Like if you look at some of those conservative girls, I don't know how much how much time you spend on the internet, but like, there's those girls who are on, a couple of them, because a conservative female who's outspoken is rare. Yeah. So you'll see a couple of them. I can't remember their names off the top of my head. There's that blonde one, and there's a few others.
Well, there's that girl on that Nelk Boy podcast. There's I don't know her name, but she's like a big Trump supporter.
Is she blonde?
No, she's black.
Candace Owens.
Yeah.
Yeah, Candace Owens is one of them. She's the other one.
Yeah.
But and they're
she gets roasted.
The reason they get roasted, right, is because their intentions isn't primarily comedy and entertainment. Their intentions are those are a term I use because I had a guy on who was one. I learned it fucking when I was in my 20s. A pundit? You heard of a
No.
They're political pundits. So meaning
Sounds rude. Sounds
right?
super rude.
I'm
gonna take that as disrespect. Go ahead and watch your mouth. Like, you know, like that is super rude.
You go ahead.
If someone calls me that, like I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna take it for like a couple seconds, and if I like sit on that and nobody says anything, it's like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Like, what did you just say?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So that's like a type of thing that I didn't know what it was. It's like a small scale person who argues politics who isn't an actual politician.
Oh, so it is rude.
It's a pundit. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're people who their intention is to argue politics, whereas our intention is to create laughs. Like, we're talking, and sometimes we might mention politics, but we're looking for the laughs, right?
And like, whether we can bring light to it. Like,
that's what it's all about, is bringing light.
Is bringing light to it. If you can laugh at it, but like you're still watching it, and you can kind of get educated. Like, I think is like our education. Like, that kind of failed us. Like, with like not failed us, but like or helped us. Like, whether the way you look at it. Like in the U.S. when you like gaming helps because like you could be able to communicate to these people. It's like getting kicked out of your place at like 16 years old because you want to vote blue and your parents want to vote red. It's like, that is wrong.
No
you
doubt.
Know what I mean? And like, that is not a conversation.
I want to say on a tangent on that. One of the things that I don't like that either, and one of the things that's been happening recently, and it's part of the reason I'm not an anti-masker, but I'm not huge on the masks. One of the reasons that I didn't really like what's been going on with the pandemic is because it was almost like the political thing. People got to start wearing bandanas on their face, like a gang sign of,
it's okay to go in the store with that on.
Yeah,
like...
now everybody can wear their gang signs everywhere. What the fuck? But Bloods and Crips can't do it. But the Republicans and Democrats with their masks or no masks can do it. That's not fair. You know.
No.
So that's how I feel about that. But
I don't like the masks. I'm not a big fan of the masks.
Man, I'm glad the pandemic is over. How happy are you to be walking around without a mask?
I'm like happy to be kind of skated through it. Like, I was like a super anti-vaxxer. Like. And like, due to work and like feeding the family, you have to bend. Like, you know, it was so sad to go into the pharmacy and like get a vaccination that like I felt that I didn't need. Yeah. Like, after being in close contact 3 different times, 3 different like whatever you want to call it, like where like 10 different people got it in your close circle and you didn't get it.
It's not even about getting it. It's about, is it going to actually hurt you?
Yeah.
And the numbers were like, oh, you barely ever die. So it's like, what are we doing?
What are you doing? Like, why? Like, I don't agree with that. Like, crazy. And like, it's nuts because like I have been to prison and I had a lot more. I felt if I didn't want to take a needle in jail, they're like, okay, see you later, go die in your cell. Like, they didn't. It's just like, that's bad, but like also good because it's like, if you don't want to take it, then it's like you still have a right, even though you broke the law. It's like, but now it's like you've not broken the law, and like I'm like a free person, have a family, have like now created this like great image, and it's like. Now you're gonna like take away my job and tell me I can't go to work because they didn't take a needle. It's like, what is going on? It's like,
how is that even a thing?
With mental health being so big and like, it's like you can't do that to people. You can't push people. It's like you're creating mental health.
No doubt. Did you know that more people died? I heard a stat the other day. More people died of fentanyl than
I believe it.
than COVID, but they listed like 4 or 5 other major things in a row, diseases like heart disease, fucking lung cancer. They listed a bunch, and more people died of fentanyl overdose and that type of shit than that.
And like,
so it's like
2014, like literally 6 of my friends that I know that I've ate with died.
Wow.
In that 1 year.
Yeah.
Due to fentanyl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, and the next year, like, you can't, like, you can say what you want, but like, it's, my brother is one of those, you know what I mean? And it's one time, and it's like, it only takes one time, you know what I mean?
Wait a second. Am I
like,
behind the? Your brother didn't die, did
so
he?
my oldest brother's passed away.
Oh, your oldest one.
Yeah,
Was he
so
the
like,
one who liked the casino?
No, so like my oldest brother is.
You have 3 brothers,
I
right?
have 3 brothers.
Oh,
well,
gotcha.
4 brothers total.
Gotcha.
So,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so my one of my oldest brothers, Curtis, like has passed away.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, so like
I didn't actually know you had one
older. He was drafted to the NLL. He's a pro lacrosse player.
Yeah, you're super good at lacrosse.
You know,
yeah.
Pro lacrosse player, really good. But like, just like everyone else, had his own issues. Like whether it be girls, friends.
Why aren't you on the rush?
You know what
That's
I mean?
my first question.
It's just not fast enough, man. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like if
Yeah,
I
dude.
had the wheels, it's just like, unfortunately, like for me, and like exactly what happened to Curtis, and like people want to
He's an
hide
athlete,
behind it,
yeah.
and it's like we've been shunned out of the community,
Yeah.
and like which is like very sad.
Yeah.
Because like we were a big part of lacrosse, but
Yeah,
like,
you guys are we're hardcore guys. I think that we are akin in that way, like where we both have that in us, where we're kind of like gladiators in a little bit of a way. One other thing I was gonna, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, sorry.
One other thing I was gonna ask you about your brothers, because your brothers, I've actually interacted with them, maybe even more than you. Your second oldest one there, I played poker with him a lot at the casino.
Oh, Carl, yeah.
Yeah. And then one thing I wanted to ask you about, and this was one thing that popped into my head before today. I was like, I'll ask you if you wanted to about it. I remember. And this was maybe 10 years ago. I remember I heard a story that your brother got into a car accident and something like that.
No.
Your younger one.
My youngest brother.
Yeah.
No, big car accident. Not that I remember. Anyway, not that
No.
anything that like. You know what? I know exactly what you're talking about. So yeah, when he was 16 years old.
Yeah.
Like, not a car. I guess a car accident. But when he was 16, a girl committed suicide on his vehicle.
Yeah. I
like,
heard that she was walking around in the middle of the night with no reflections.
I don't know the exact story, but like it's you know, not my story to say, but like
For sure.
I just know like
For
my encounters of it, and
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I know that Christopher.
It's not 100% his fault, and I get that too.
And so like he seen my auntie, like within 100 meters away, said hey, and then accelerated to the speed limit. Girl jetted in between 2 parked cars, hit her. He had people in the car.
Yeah.
Very shocking to happen at 16, and like I personally remember laying in bed, like just like my room, Christopher's room, and I'm just like listening. It's just like, what do you do in that circumstances, right? And like
scary.
And for Christopher, and he didn't like big shock at 16. You know what I mean?
It's a huge shock, dude.
Yeah,
And let me
so
just I'm gonna add one thing, and then you continue because this is your story. Because the way that it was heard in the community was like, the story was, oh, there was alcohol involved. That's BS, you know? Like the whole story, that is not
he was never charged.
That's not the core. That's exactly. That's not the core of the story. Let me tell you this. I was on my way to hockey the other day, and I had like a beer before I went there, right? And I got pulled over. The guy breathalyzed me. There's like there can often be a little bit of alcohol involved. That doesn't mean it's the cause of an accident. She ran out into the street.
Yeah.
That's the cause of the accident. But yeah, terrible accident.
Yeah.
But
like,
yeah, I heard about
it's
that.
It's very sad, and like it sucks because like that affected him in a certain way, and like,
Absolutely.
not the way that people maybe thought.
I know.
And it kind of changed him. Like you know what I mean? Like,
it does.
People maybe thought he would have went like a little more emotional, but it kind of like he just like
hardened up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
you're
it
too
kind of
young.
built him to where he is today. Is because like
Fair enough.
he was like that. Probably hurt him. Like, does he want to talk about it? Probably not. You know what I mean? He's probably very upset. Like,
oh yeah,
suicide
still
is a very
even
touchy
still.
thing to him.
Yeah. My cousin committed suicide about 4 years ago. You know, it was crazy too. He looked just like me. He looked
really?
just like me.
Yeah.
And committed suicide, hung himself.
That's too bad. And it's like that's like
I wasn't close with him though.
It
so.
sucks. It's his story, but like and that did happen, and like never charged.
For sure.
No alcohol was involved.
Yeah.
Which is like super crazy.
Yeah, that's critical too. Yeah.
And like just something that he's.
But it shows how stories get spun. You know, like
telephone game.
Yeah, rumors and that
and
kind of shit.
It's funny that you say the telephone game because there was like one time when I was in jail.
Yeah. Oh, but how many? So we're gonna start with your jail story. Remember your story you're just about to tell about jail. How long? We'll start from the beginning though, if you don't mind. Like,
no, I don't.
How did it happen?
You could Google it really. So you can...
Cool. There you go. So you're on the internet.
Yeah, it's on Google. Yeah, it's like nothing you could really hide behind.
There you go.
There was a person writing a little article in the background of the courtroom. Like, unfortunately, it happened. And it's like.
So from the beginning, what happened and how long were you in jail? And tell me all
Just,
about
like-
tell us all about it.
So basically, caught up with a bad scene. Like you're just like that persona that you're imaging. I'm like looking up to the wrong guys, like whether it be the wrong or right guys, and like just I thought that the right things were cool, whether it, and I just like thought I was gonna be that guy. And so when it's people being disrespectful or like, and so I'm doing my thing, whatever it may be doing, and I felt as if in the circumstance I was being disrespected. Somebody owed some other money, so we decided to pay someone a visit that night, and that person just like forgot about the code that they live by. Like you're selling drugs. Like let's be honest. Like you're creating a financial advantage of drugs. You can't be disrespectful unless you can back it. Like if I am selling drugs, like I'm not gonna poke the person that could hurt me. I'm not. I'm gonna make sure that guy's happy. Like that's what we did in high school. And that's just like what you do.
Yeah,
and
you don't
so,
go
like,
punch the principal.
No, you don't do that. And like so this guy was. I felt as if he was. Whether it was right to go kick his door in that night, no. Like that wasn't right. But at the time, that was the right thing to do. And so that's what I did. And I brought my little brother with me, thinking that was a good idea. Bad idea. Like good idea because my time was a lot better in prison. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was a lot easier doing time with my youngest brother every day, same day. That was awesome. But, like, bringing him into that life and shit was, like, super not cool. But, yeah, so anyway, we did that. Got out of there. There was some, like, shitty shit that happened. Like I said, you could Google it. A lot of people know me, and they probably know the story. But just to clear it up, like, there was some super disrespectful stuff being said. We went and paid this guy a visit. Took what we needed. What I thought was just. Left. He called the cops, 911, and wrote like a 10-page impact statement that I tried killing him, and all this stuff. And it was just like, buddy, like, yeah, like I'm sorry, but that's not what happened. And like, you can't sit in court and put a person in jail after making a financial advantage. It's like you do not have the right. Like
So
that
yeah,
system
so
isn't
he
there.
stole
no more.
money, and then you guys went and were going to get it back.
Not like this guy used to move for, like he basically used to see me all the time. Like you know what I mean? Like me and this guy used to see each other, and then he just like was being super rude. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to get too much detail, but like it was just like super
Okay.
disrespectful.
Okay.
And like it was just like wow, man.
Enough disrespect. Yeah.
And then I heard from another guy that someone owes some money, so we're like, we know where he's at. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, oh really? Like
Yeah. Have you ever seen Peaky Blinders?
yeah, I have seen a bit about it. And so like
Reminds me of you and your brother, the two guys there.
Yeah, and so like that kind of like, and before that, we weren't in a good place. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Of course.
That is just what got us caught. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like before this, like you can't imagine what was building to this. Like there was a lot going on prior to that.
Yeah,
like,
of
there was
course.
so much going on, but unfortunately for us, and not unfortunately, it's good for us.
Yes.
Because like
That's
I
how
take it
you-
for a benefit.
That's how you change.
You know what I mean?
That's
so
how the
like
change
I went
starts.
inside and I'm like, you know what? They're like in court and they're like, hey, like they're looking to charge some people, and I'm like, you know what? This was my shit. Like, you know what I mean? Ain't nobody should go down to jail. You know what I mean? Like, why should my driver go to jail or what? Like, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? If you're looking for a certain amount of guys, let me be one of those guys. I'll take my bit and shut my mouth. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna rat my friends out.
Yep.
But it was very sad to see how many people like to talk to the police to get themselves out. Like, it's just crazy to see. Like, so like, took my time. Like, it was forcible confinement is what I got charged with.
Okay.
Break and enter, hiding my identity, and assault with a weapon. So, just like a bunch of stuff happened in there. They ended up getting tied up. We left. One of the guys bear-maced them as they left. As we like left, did not realize that until like we were arrested a day later.
Gotcha.
Like, whatever.
Yeah.
It happened.
Yeah.
So it happened, and like so we, not hiding from nothing. I got arrested 2 days later. Watched some police reports. Went to prison. You know, and I'm like, nobody should like, holy fuck, like what am I doing? Like, you know,
Yeah.
I have a great girlfriend.
How old were you at the time that you
This is
had to go serve your time? How old were you when you went in?
This is 2016, end of 2015, 2016. I think I went in.
Okay.
And so like that, like I was on bail for a year, so it all happened in 2000. It started 2015 on bail for the whole year 2015. 2016 went to PA Pen with my younger brother. We got sentenced, ended up getting sentenced to 3 years. Our other co-accused got 2 years. However that happened, whatever. We got 3 years, and we didn't bear mace anyone. So like, whatever happened.
Yeah.
And,
did the guy who did any of the others, the guy who you guys went to give some proper punishment to, did he get in trouble at all?
No.
Fuck.
So like he wrote a statement against me, like 10-page statement, him and his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And like, I was very mad. I'm like laying in jail, like very mad. I'm like, hey, like,
you gotta do
I
something.
thought that there was a code here, and like we're all like playing it off of the law. You know what I mean? We're playing in the wild, wild west.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't have the police to go to.
Gotcha.
Like, you know what I mean? You don't have that. That's not allowed.
That's not allowed.
Like, you're not going to work at the bank.
Yeah.
Like, nobody can rob your bank account. That's your PIN. You've earned that money.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna be disrespectful and like rude to like the person that's like feeding you, it's like, I'm sorry, but it sucks. And so it just like, and like that, it was like super selfish mindset.
Yeah.
It was like, that led, I'm like, oh, big bad Cody, I'm being disrespected. It's like, what am I thinking?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like, and I'm like also like paying rent. Let's pay some rent. Let's get the bills paid. You know, we got shit to pay. Like,
well,
so
dude,
we did that. Went to jail and did our time, and it was sad to see how many people were at.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Like, how do you get out of jail? That's not how you get out of jail. It's not.
I know. Yeah. Well, let me tell you, like, we've all made mistakes, right? And I don't want to. So I'll tell you a little bit about how my mistakes are, and not because they're not quite comparable to yours. You know, because I guess I haven't experienced that. But for me, you know, I did the same thing where none of us are at fault because 2016, like, we're still young, we're in our 20s, and we didn't have stable upbringings necessarily. And for me, I was overly competitive, right? And you found yourself in a physical prison. Me personally, and I've talked about this extensively on the show, and you could probably even vouch for this with me growing up. But I was way too over competitive, and to the point where I even pushed away a lot of my friends.
Like, I could definitely
even now, like I don't have a lot of friends, and so I'm not physically in prison. But in a way, we all kind of make our own prisons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And you know what? And I made my prison. You know, I was a leader amongst a lot of my friends too growing up. And when I was in my early 20s, I used to host a poker game all the time. I don't know if you ever heard about it, but I'm big into poker. Still, I'm big into poker. Love the game. But
good to know. I'm not gonna play you.
Yeah. Don't.
No.
And I still go to the casino, make lots of money. But yeah, with my friends when I was younger, I didn't know that line between fun and how to treat certain people. And dude, and I've told the story about how it's not my fault and this and that, bunch of excuses, but I was the host of the game ultimately. And some cheating started happening in the game. And I never stopped it. And a few of my friends that were close friends, we could have been long-term friends for the past 8-9 years since it happened, not friends at all. So basically, like, let's say my 4 best friends, no longer friends anymore.
Wow.
So, you know, we all kind of make our mistakes growing up, find ourselves in our own little prisons. So, and you're past it now. So all you can do now is just kind of keep going and fucking just try to do.
And it's like so crazy because like I'm at work and like I've changed, like go to work and like
you have
I don't.
Family. You have,
I got
you have
kids, 2
and
kids,
dogs
and
stuff.
so like I got 2
That's
kids.
amazing.
I got a
How old
dog.
are
I
your
got a
kids
wife.
now?
So Remington's gonna be 4 soon.
Fucking cool,
it's nuts. And then Parker's like 6 months. Like it's just like everything's so nuts. It's just like everything is growing so fast. And like, you know what? Prison is what realized that I was like, I need this. Like, you know, it's like this path that I was on, like this gang banging path life. It's like I thought that was cool.
Before you were just a sniper rifle.
And like
and you went to prison, and then what happened was you put a scope onto that sniper rifle.
You can really see.
That's what you are now.
Yeah, and like you can just really see how it is. And it's just like I didn't like going to jail and like seeing that like these guys are being released to their parents' house. I didn't like that. When like I left my Tory, like with no family, with like 3 years of rent. It's like, wow, like what am I doing? And then go there and it's like you got like we're sitting in a cell, me and Chris were just trying to do some time, and you got a guy at 40 years old crying because he's trying to like spend his daughter's boyfriend's money. And it's like, and he's trying to bring his pit stick out, and it's like, wow, this is wow. Like you're like, this is not what I want. Like, you know, like, and then I get out, realize that these guys have been working since they're like 22, gonna retire at 40. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, because once you go in, right, I think you can't really build up your assets or anything. I think once you go to prison, you get like, it costs money. I think, doesn't it?
No, it wasn't like, you know what? It didn't cost me anything to go.
Yeah.
It like costed me like a shitty time without like my family. That sucked.
Yeah.
Probably costed my wife more than anything. Like you know, like it costed her a lot. Yeah. And like I'm like owe her the world because of it. Like, and it's just like a lot of guys in there. It's super sad. Valentine's Day in there is sad. It's sad. Like watching guys are like, I can't wait till Valentine's Day, and then Valentine's Day there's no answer. And it's like, Wow, yeah, that's sad. And I know I have a solid chick, and like,
Yeah, dude, that's something to be proud of too. You
since
know?
high school,
Because
you know,
that's a thing where you really are spinning the wheel when you're picking a girl.
and
you
now
know
it's
what?
forever
And
because
you, know,
you don't
there
just
you go.
like, you
and
don't
you know
just
what,
pick.
dude? I've picked girls, and guess what? I didn't pick as good as you did. So there you go, right?
Appreciate that.
So you're winning.
Yeah,
so,
and like, yeah, she is a good chick, and like, she
Yeah.
is so good, and like, she like lets me do stuff like this, you know what I mean? Like, and like,
sure.
she grinds my gears when it's time to grind the gears, you know. And if I like probably would have listened to her that night, I probably would have went not to prison, you know.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have went out with my
Yeah.
boys that night.
Yeah, yeah.
But like,
That's the lesson, folks. Is
Yeah.
You always listen to your lady.
Yeah,
Always
like,
listen to your
up.
lady. Clip that one on the fucking on the internet.
But like, wow, it's just like, and it's just, it sucks. But like, going there, I took a positive. I remember eating supper with some bros at like buddies in from Kelowna, and we're just like eating supper, and just like they're like, we're just bullshitting, and one guy's like telling how good traveling is, and like, fuck, it was irking me, hey. And I was just like, man, like, I'm just gonna take a benefit from my experience. Like, shitty what I did, and like, not proud of it, but like, I'm not scared of it. Like, I'm not hiding from my past.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not like, there's nothing to hide from. Like, I could go back to prison and be okay. Like, you know, I still have friends there,
Yeah.
and guys that I still look up to. Like, you know what I mean, that are like truly really good guys. You know what I mean? And like, have they killed people? Yes, they have. Like, you know, they have. And like,
Yeah.
but do I think they're good people? Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
it's just different. It's just like, I had that same in high school. It's just like,
Yeah.
you're like just as good with the people that like are really good at books as you are with the person that is really good at finding weed. Like,
For sure.
you know, you just like,
And that was your road.
yeah, like, I just don't
Yeah.
want to have anybody against me. Like, it's just like,
Yeah.
I don't want to have any enemies. Like, if
Yeah.
like, you're a big bad dude, it's like, either you're against or with me. And it's like, well, I'll go with you then.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, what's up?
Yeah. Hey, so what would you have to say, like, growing up, other than, let's say, you know, not having a good role model or whatever, what was your vice? Like, because for me it was competitiveness, and let's say of the substances, because for you, I don't think you have any vices personally. I think that potentially it was some sort of substance that sent you down the wrong.
Yeah, like,
was it alcohol or what's
no,
up?
like, I don't, that's so crazy. And like, when you go to, like, and it's crazy that I revert back to that all the time, but like, when you go to jail, they try finding something to blame.
Yeah.
They're like, how was your parenting?
Because there's probably counselors and stuff.
Yeah, so they're like, how's your parenting? Like, you got beat? Is your dad an alcoholic, raging alcoholic? Okay, and it's like, no, parenting is good. I played hockey, lacrosse, baseball. Like, oh, you're addicted to drugs then? I'm like, no. Like, smoke weed. Like, oh, you drink a lot of booze? No. Like, oh fuck. Like, what is going on here? Like,
Yeah.
they're looking for something to fix.
Yeah.
That's the big thing inside. They're like wanting to fix something. And for me, I was like, alcohol was never a big thing for me. Never did coke ever to this day. Went to prison and still has never done coke. And it's just like,
There you go.
not something I'm into.
Yeah,
Like, it's just like, I've had, like I said, a lot of friends die, and like a lot of people do it, and I just see them turn real shisty,
Yeah.
and like accuse a lot of people of stealing, and it's just like, it's all the coke, and it's like, unfortunately, there's one guy here sober because you guys are all on coke,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
Coke-
nobody did that.
Yeah, Coke has never appealed to me. I did it once.
Oh, really?
I'm not really sure if it was real or what. I was like 19 or 20 or something, and I did it once. I was trying to, I don't know what I was doing.
Yeah, people have a hard
trying
time.
to be cool.
People have a hard time believing it, and like, even like when I'm at work and like I'm tying rebar, and they're like, you've been to prison, but you never smoked coke or like sniffed coke. It's like, no, man, like,
Exactly.
are you fucked? Like,
Yeah.
no, I still have guidelines here. Like,
Oh, fuck.
it was crazy. It was nuts. And like, do you know what's another crazy thing about jail? Like different spectrums, like, or
Yes,
whatever
yeah,
whatever the word.
Perspectives, yeah.
So like, when I was in there, everybody was for Justin Trudeau.
Really?
Yes, they hated Stephen Harper. He was the craziest thing. And like, so I'm like, you're like with the, you know, the pack is going this way. It's like, woo! Like, it's just like, because like Stephen Harper fucked all the prisons, and like they like
Did
took
he?
all, like, apparently
fuck
I
prisons?
wasn't in there.
Oh,
I wasn't
okay.
in there for that. But from what I heard is that like a lot of the prisons were self-sustained. Like the farming, like a lot of the stuff like was all in-house, like cattle, all this stuff, and then they got shipped out across, like, and it's still like that kind of, like Drumheller has like pillows and bedding, to where like Saskatchewan has like cabinets and like other things, and like
And the
Ontario.
prisoners build that shit. You say?
Yeah,
Gotcha,
they have
gotcha.
a job. They go in
cool,
and do
cool.
that. So like
Yeah.
that's like their district, but it used to be even more than that. Like dairy, beef, like a lot more, and like where
And
they
then
would
he took
eat.
that away, so he kind of took little.
You just like,
rights
you're
away.
in jail.
Yeah, gotcha.
Welcome to jail, motherfucker.
Gotcha.
You know, and everybody.
That's
Justin
fair.
Trudeau's like,
That's fair, right?
chill. And like,
People
so
pick their political leanings based on the fields they're like
They're in.
the grass they
and
can
it's
tend to.
crazy
Yeah.
how much it changes. So I get
Yeah.
immediately first step out,
Yeah.
and it's like, fuck Trudeau stickers on the hard hats and shit. And I'm like,
hating on him right
I'm like,
now,
what?
yeah.
I'm like, what is? Like, I'm so confused. I was like, when I was in prison, the biggest, baddest motherfuckers, and I dare you to say fuck Trudeau to that guy.
Yeah.
Like, he ain't gonna say that, you know. But like, they don't know because these guys aren't actually voting, you know, and they don't really know. But they just see that they're fucking them up in prison, and not letting them out, and like doing like taking away their 1/3, and it's like, why take that away? I don't think they should take any of that away to inmates. Like, if they can get out on parole, and if they want to break parole, then they're gonna get sent back. Like, that was never broken. Like, so why would we take away their parole rights? It's like, that's like the big argument for the conservative liberal thing is like they're taking away the like how we get out on parole.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, makes sense.
So I got out on my 1/3 on parole.
Oh yeah, so that's what you're on right now.
No, I'm done. Everything.
Everything.
I've been down there for like 3 or 4 years now, so I'm straight. So I'm a good boy. Man. Yeah.
Good for you.
Very good boy. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Good treats at night and everything.
Yeah. For me, I'm not like I don't believe in. I think, my most recent understanding of politics is that I don't really attack leaders. So I don't care if Trudeau or whoever is in charge. I never even.
We should vote Trump, to be honest.
Yeah, I didn't even hate on Trump, right? I see them as actually really honorable guys because think about Trudeau, right? His dad was a prime minister. He grew up and was in the spotlight his whole life. He's just trying to live.
Yeah, and I felt like maybe Trudeau was going to be good. I thought maybe he was going to be bred for this, but like...
Well, it's whatever.
Wrong.
Maybe he is. He's serving the position, and, he maybe made some mistakes with speeches, but my point is that ultimately these guys who are the prime minister, they're just there to almost take shit.
Okay.
They're there to take shit. So that's why I see them as kind of heroes, because they're just taking shit all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I like to put myself right in the middle. I don't hate on leaders. I see the role that they play as leaders.
It's tough, yeah. It was definitely tough. I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't want that role.
Yeah, me neither.
Do I think Donald Trump should come over to Canada? Yeah, I think that. Like, if I was to pick, it's just like, I think that maybe Canada would be like, it's like, you know what? You like fund the rest of Canada for 1 year and just like, all your tax income is going right to the army. Like, or something. Like, we need to do something, man. Like, we need to do something. Like,
I know, that's the thing though.
We have so much money here, and like, we're not.
We do, I know.
Why aren't we doing nothing with it? Like, why are we just selling it, the assets away?
I know.
It's like, oh, you want our mineral rights?
Here you go.
I don't want no problems. Yeah. It's like, actually, we do.
We're stopping pipelines that would be like, oh, our country can be rich, but let's just stop that pipeline. Like
what?
Like, here's the other thing, dude. You know what the main one is? Is like nuclear power is going to be the next big thing.
Oh yeah.
And we have lots of uranium. That's how old power plants operated. But now the newer power plants run on an element called thorium.
Okay.
And guess what is the region, if you want to call it a province, that has the most thorium in the entire world? Saskatchewan. Bingo.
Why are you telling me this stuff, man?
No, I'm telling you, it's crazy that we haven't fully switched over to nuclear power yet. That's one of my big things in terms of politics. Like, I'm not really, like, how we were taught climate change and all that type of stuff growing up? And I really believed in it. I believe they like 99% of scientists agree that humans are accelerating climate change. It's like, okay, that's correct. And I bet you they do agree to that. But just how about change the question a little bit? Do 99% of scientists agree that humans are accelerating the climate to a degree where it's a existential threat? The answer is no. None of them agree on that.
No.
So that's where the policy stuff, it's all crazy. Quit it with all the taxes, quit it with all the bullshit on environment. None of that should be government level. Start making nuclear power plants. Problem with the environment averted. Because most of the CO2 is coming from petroleum plants. So switch those to fucking nuclear, and we're done. There's 100 documentaries.
Wasn't there like a big thing in Saskatchewan that we had some big filtration system on one of our plants that was like?
Maybe. I mean, nowadays the plants aren't even cooled or filtered. They're not even cooled with water anymore.
Yeah.
They use salt. Thorium, uranium needed to be cooled with water. They use water. They put them in jugs. Hey, make sure this doesn't get in the ocean. It's irradiated. Bury it in the ground.
Oh wow.
Nowadays they don't even use water, so there's not even an opportunity for a spill. They use salt. They run it over the fucking thing. Anyway, sorry.
It's crazy.
Boring science shit.
Yeah, crazy.
So,
it's like crazy science.
So
stuff.
Anyway, that's the type
maybe
of
if they can dumb it down for like us guys that are a little
stuff, right? It's the people who don't understand that stuff. They either go fuck Trudeau or fuck
a lot easier.
Who's the conservative guy now? Pierre Poilievre.
Yeah,
they pick a leader. They hate him or they love him.
Yeah, I know some of those debates are getting pretty sweet, man, to watch. And like, I wasn't never a big debate guy, but I was like, even like I was getting Dory into. She's like,
fucking hilarious.
She's like, oh my god, who is this girl? I'm like, she's sweet.
Dude, did you have a chance to watch the presidential debate Trump versus Biden back in the day?
No, I did not.
Holy fuck, did I enjoy that?
Oh,
they had
really?
2 debates. It was the funniest thing ever.
Yeah, I find that
was
stuff
when the Proud
really
Boys
good.
came out and became world famous. Do you know what the Proud Boys are?
No.
Proud Boys are kind of it's like a gang.
Okay.
It's like an intellectual gang that was started by this guy who originated on the Joe Rogan Experience, Gavin McInnes.
Yeah.
And so it's like new aged white supremacy, if you will,
Oh, wow.
in a way. And like that's not good, but people call them white supremacists, but really they're a masculinist group, meaning that they're just like they're trying to fight for rights for men. So you know how there's feminists all over the place, and nobody looks down on a feminist. You're a feminist.
They're aggressive now.
You know what's crazy?
Like, they're so aggressive.
So aggressive. You want to know what's crazy? When you think of a feminist, they are always like, oh, we're fighting for equality. That's what feminists like to have us perceive them as. But the reality is that they're fighting for feminine power, and that's what. And there's no opposition. I'm not saying they are. I'm not saying they are. I'm not anti-feminist. I'm saying that that's ultimately what they're doing in a way. Like that's why you see Johnny Depp on trial right now for being beat up by his girlfriend.
I just seen a thing. It's like, when did Johnny Depp turn into a club DJ?
Yeah, dude. If you've watched some of that's another great trial. There was that trial, and then there was the one with the kid who shot a couple people recently. Remember that trial?
No.
It was in America.
They have some crazy cases, eh?
Yeah, for sure.
You're like, holy.
Then there goes my brain scattering again.
I
lost it all. What the hell were we talking about? I don't remember.
That's funny.
Trials and shit.
That Trump with the kid shooting. The shooting.
Yeah, the shooting, but dude, it's gone.
It's gone.
My brain went askew.
That's great.
And it's not how like politics is just like we're not ingrained to that in America. It's like you go open up your front door and you look down the street, you see American flags as far as I can see. I go down here and it's like, where's our Canadian flags? It's not that we don't have Canadian pride. It's just like, why don't we fly our flag?
I know, right? We need a little more nationalism.
Yeah.
It's because the Nazis, they fucked up. They brought such a negative connotation on that word nationalism. You know, because whenever somebody thinks of nationalism, like loving your country, they think of a German nationalist, which is a Nazi.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? That's why, and that's the part. You know what?
The Nazis are back in the news with the whole Ukraine and Russia thing.
There you go. We'll talk about yeah. And you know what? That's the same as I was just gonna spread that. That's the same problem that's happening with nuclear, where the word gets infected. People think that nuclear power plants are dangerous because of nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Change the fucking name to atomic or not bad too.
Bad.
Atomic bomb. Elemental. Plant. Elemental.
Something a little more nicer.
Something like that. But yeah, anyway, so the most recent fucking war going on right now is Russia versus Ukraine.
It's nuts.
I actually got kicked. And there's another friend. In terms of certain debates, I will put it all on the line.
I just watched your last podcast. I talked
a little bit about Russia.
Yeah,
tell me your opinion.
And so I just caught a little bit of the brief, and like it's like not our problem. Like
it's
right
not our
now,
problem.
but
I'm so proud of America for not. This is where I love Biden, dude.
But we do have a lot of Ukrainians here, so like that's where
tough.
like I'm hot. Like that's where I'm like, if I was, I work beside Ukrainians all day.
What's your ethnicity?
And like mine's like
Scotch.
so like that's racist. That's super racist.
Sorry.
No,
Sorry.
Aboriginal.
Oh yeah, you're Native American.
So like I do have a bit of Aboriginal in me, and then like it's like all over. So like Ptolemy is such a Greek last name.
Okay.
So like it is like European, like all over Europe.
Okay.
Like, so like it's
a mix of European, Eastern European, and Native American.
Yeah, correct.
I am British, 50%, but I don't know the other 50% because I don't know my dad, right?
All right.
So is that? We'll talk about that for just a second before we talk about Russia at all. Did you know your dad growing up?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Your whole time?
All the whole time, yeah. I had a great great childhood throughout my life. Like Christmas on Christmas mornings, like, you know, like great childhood. Like, and like when I went to prison, they're like, what the fuck? Oh, it was good. It's like great. Actually really good. Like I have really good morals. I respect women.
There you go.
Like, you know, they're just like, what happened? It's like, that is me.
I probably put my vices. I probably put women on pedestals too much.
Okay.
Because I was raised by two women.
Yeah. And it's funny. We all hear the story, right? Like you all know, like throughout hockey and stuff like that.
It was a unique upbringing. Let me tell you.
For sure.
Yeah. Like.
How was that?
Okay. Like.
Have you ever talked about it on the pod?
Lots, and I'm all good. No worries. I'm all good.
Really?
That's what this is kind of for. Is for me. Getting some of that out, you know.
Yeah.
Because I was always so embarrassed of it, and it was.
I know you got like people try chirping lots in hockey and stuff like that. And you kind of just like it just like you gotta scored you more, you know.
Yeah.
Just, like, you get a couple more Genos.
For every chirp, I'd get a couple Genos.
I do have one good memory of you in high school when we were doing the beep test. Remember in grade 10?
Yes,
it was
100%.
It's just like fuck Stephan, like dude. Like,
yeah. Well, the teacher
it's done.
The teacher
we're
said,
done.
He said if you get to 14, you get free McDonald's. So me and Sean Fertosky were like, let's fucking do it.
I remember that.
Sean was in cross country at the time, but.
Who won that? I don't remember.
Well, me and him both just dropped out at 14.
Oh yeah. Did you get McDonald's?
Got McDonald's.
Oh weird.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right
that's the best beep test I ever done. I can't pull a 14 off anymore.
No. Yeah, that was really good. Yeah, I remember the whole class was just sitting there like, fuck's sake.
Sorry, I was wasting your guys' time.
Yeah. I left actually.
I'm going to get
McDonald's.
McDonald's.
I was
Fuck
like,
this,
I
my
don't
time
need
was
no
worth
bun.
more than this McDouble.
Yeah.
So, oh shit, I had it and I lost it. What was the next thing I was going to ask you? Fuck, dude.
Upbringing, you're on your upbringing.
That's gone.
That's your thing, eh?
Mhm.
Maybe you start jotting
dude.
that down.
Yeah, dude. I should probably slow down on the weed a little bit.
No, don't blame the weed. I never want to blame the weed when people are like at work and they're like, "Oh, you smoke too much dope."
I agree, dude.
It's like
I hate
it's
the
not
term
the
stoner.
dope. It's not the dope, man. It's like that guy's just stupid.
Yeah.
It's not the weed.
Yeah, no doubt. There are some stupid guys. Yeah, I actually.
It's a highlighter. I like.
Sometimes it'll happen out of nowhere.
A big shout out to the Jeff at Skunkfuck, man. That guy used to like people call him an asshole, right? And like when we were in high school, and he'd like kick people out of his store if they're like. He's like, dude, just get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
He's like, honestly, you're, like, this is what makes us look bad.
No
and
doubt.
like, I just so happened to be walking in the store when this was happening, and I'm like facts. I was like, don't look like that's right. I was like, don't like. I was like, the weed leaf kind of looks bad. Like, you know, smelling like weed, that kind of smells bad. Like in public, don't come to class stinking like weed.
Totally.
Like it's just like very unprofessional.
Take care of if you want to have these things in your life, take care of them. I totally agree. By the way, I'm not meaning to put a negative connotation.
Yeah,
on it.
exactly.
I think that the word I hate when it's, oh, you're a stoner. I hate that.
Yeah.
shit, dude. Totally against.
I
all
smoke
that.
weed. Like,
That's
you
what I
know,
love
it's
about Joe
like-
Rogan, right? Is he's put that whole positive spin on
It is
marijuana
good.
and what it can do to benefit you. Right?
Yes.
Fucking change the way your brain works and stuff like
And like,
that.
who are we hiding it from? Let's be honest.
Exactly,
Like, if you have something that makes you feel better, like, why are we hiding that
Dude,
from something?
I give credit to weed. I think that weed is the thing, along with mushrooms. I was going to actually ask
I do.
you if you
Yes.
did a little bit of that,
Yeah,
because they're great.
100%.
And I was wondering if you had done it since you've been to prison and done it after. But,
Yes.
Yes
and yes.
Yes and yes. Okay,
Yes
cool,
and
cool,
yes.
cool.
So write that down so you don't lose it.
Yeah. So I remember I was talking about. First, I'll just say, but I was talking about what it was like to grow up, how I grew up. I remember what I was talking about. So it was all right, you know, and that's what I meant earlier in the podcast where I said me and you kind of had each our own family struggles. Were a little different, but I had a solid family structure. But when I'd go out places, I was always embarrassed of my family. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the things I hold my most guilt in life now is I wish I'd never done that.
Oh,
and
really?
weed allowed me to let go of all of my competitiveness, all of my embarrassment towards their unique lifestyle, my parents.
Considering where it is now, you know what I mean? Like
the
that
whole
was
gay-
ahead of the
gay
schedule.
thing. Yeah, they were
You
ahead
know
of
what I
the
mean?
schedule.
They were ahead of the game there. Like they were like fucking. It's like someone like came and they're like, hey, just so you know, like. You know, like parenting, same sex, lesbians.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. Gay marriage is gonna be the thing. It's like,
It's
like if you would have known that, it's just like
my
you maybe
parents-
wouldn't have been like so like
What's so funny?
enclosed about it.
I know.
Right?
What's
like,
so funny is nowadays I actually look at my parents and I see them. They're actually quite conservative, even though that they're gay.
Oh really?
It's really funny.
Oh wow.
And
like that happens because like they're humans with their own feelings.
yeah.
Right. So they can be conservative or not.
Yeah, and now compared to the whole transgender movement going on right now, they almost look like they're. Hey, these are the normal people. Let's just leave them alone. Let's look at these people over here taking drugs to change their gender.
That's a little aggressive.
It's a little aggressive,
especially at young
but
ages and
also
stuff like that. It's like
just
what
let
do you?
it play out. You know?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. I'm going to give you a kind of a long, lengthy perspective on this just for a second here. Dude, the interesting thing about that is you just let it play out. You can't get on people about what they're doing because this is my opinion on it, and I'm serious. And I throw myself under the bus when I talk about this principle. Is you can talk about trans people and be like, hey, it's not ideal. They're messing with their genetics a little bit, and that's not good. But just let them live it out. They may not have that full. They may fuck themselves up a little bit. But guess what? Gay families raise kids, raise me. It is true that a nuclear family, man, woman, blah, 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 is a better family than what I had. If you look at it right on paper.
Okay.
But ultimately, gay families can still raise good
100%.
kids. So it's not always about what's best.
And
you
like
know?
you're not gay.
No, exactly, right?
Right? Like you
so,
know what I mean? That's a big common misconception where like they're like
yeah,
we can't
dude,
have that
was
because like
actually
it's just
part
like
of-
people are like you immediately
huge
think
part.
that like and like maybe it's different because it's two moms, maybe it's different in like a two dad situation.
For sure, but I imagine my sister Kelsey went through a lot of that too, where people thought she was even worse for her.
Okay.
And
yeah.
'cause I have a sister.
Oh, I did not know that.
And that was actually one of the source of one of the biggest embarrassments was you were always worried that people might think that you were like them.
Yeah.
And when you're like, damn, just let me choose, let me be.
I'm
so,
me.
And it definitely started on you too young. But I see it as a positive because I thought it gave me a good mental stimulation when
For
I
sure.
I grew up a little bit too soon even.
Yeah, pretty fast. Yeah.
Yeah, and it helped me.
Yeah, you're
So,
definitely a lot more mature. Like even when like we were,
Yeah.
like, I know when we were living in Hamptons together. When you were living in Hamptons, like again, that's like too like that was in the heart of I'm like on the wrong side of the fucking law here
Yeah.
in Hamptons, and like looking over, it's like I was in high school with this guy, and this guy looks like he's doing good. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
thanks,
like,
man. Well, that's what I was
like,
trying.
you know what I
That's
mean?
what I was
Like,
trying to portray. Yeah.
it was like, you know, like it was like, okay, it's like,
Yeah.
and like I was happy, and I was very happy. It was just like, oh, right on, like good to see. You know, I was like very happy, and like as was I happy in my own skin. So like for somebody to give some kind of hormone pills at a young age, it's like I thought I was gonna be some serious gangbanger, like I honestly did, and now it's like I have different aspirations in life. I want to be a great father, like, you know,
for sure.
like I want to like have a great family, and I have goals and stuff that I want to meet, and it's just like that gangbanging with all the boys aren't on that list, like not even close, like anywhere close to that. So it's like, how can you just give somebody pills and like slap tits on their chest and be like, you're now a girl?
Especially if they're under 18 and they're
like,
I'm not for that stuff. With
If
young
you-
people. I'm not. By the way, my story about leaving them alone wasn't to imply that, hey, it's good. I'm not saying that at all.
yeah, like it's just like,
And especially when it comes to sports or MMA, there shouldn't be.
Yeah, you
there
can't-
should just be a trans league. And
yeah,
just create two new leagues. There's the trans women who converted to men. That's a new league. So it's a men's trans league.
get your own weight
and
class.
then a women's
Yeah.
trans league.
It's only fair,
Yeah,
right?
Totally.
It's only-
Especially that swimming shit.
You're a different gender on a card. You're gender X, so then they changed it to that. So it's like, well, like you're a whole different gender now. So
Yeah.
it's like male, female, and then
Yeah.
X. So like,
Yeah, totally.
that's what you gotta
Here, let me
do.
pop over to my list for a second here, because we're coming up on over an hour. So let me see what I got on my list for topics I wanted to hit with you.
Hell yeah.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say, dude. Do you remember? Because we were talking about the beep test, and I was gonna say, do you remember we had a little arm wrestle in the lunchroom that one time? Because me and you were both regarded back in the day as kind of the strong guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Remember that? And we had an arm wrestle in the lunchroom. Do you
I
remember
don't know. I don't remember.
that? Oh, me and you never arm wrestled. I'd arm wrestled everybody. Everybody's like, "Oh, Stefan's good at arm wrestles," and that's, dude. This is the strongest part of my body.
Yeah.
So if you want to, you could squat more than me, you could bench more than me, whatever. But I
But
was
arm
good-
wrestling,
good
and
at
like
arm
that's a
wrestling.
technique thing.
Yeah,
Like I don't think I've ever been like.
it is a technique.
It's a technique thing. Like I've known, like I remember like I was like 10 or 11, and I had like, it was like an uncle, a drunken uncle, smallest guy in the room, kind of like the guy that would like go and shake hands. He'd do the handshake and then just squeeze your fucking the bones out of your damn hands.
Yeah.
And like it's just like, it was that uncle, and he's like teaching it, like he's like doing the arm wrestle thing, and just the biggest baddest guys. All the friends are over, and he's mucking barn,
There you go.
and it's just like this guy.
You
has-
must have used it on me, because what I remember, by the way, is you kicked my ass.
Oh really? I do not
I was
remember.
so pissed though, because you know what you did, and I still remember it to this day. That's why I wasn't pissed. 'Cause I don't really care about arm wrestles, but I did want to have a good arm wrestle with you. We didn't do a rematch. That's why I was pissed.
Oh.
It was because you used a good technique on me, right? We weren't standing up, and then we were arm wrestling, and then you kind of pushed your chair back. Your chair slid back. My arm just went, and you just got me. I was like, "Fuck you!"
Cheater.
Well, no,
Cheater.
well, in a way, I was like, "Let's do a rematch," but it never went.
Oh, no, I do not remember,
Yeah, you
but like
kicked my
I
ass.
like Beth because they always did like the rock paper scissors thing they had
Fuck yeah,
about
dude,
school.
competition.
Yeah, I love that shit.
Mr. Gay he was a great president.
You liked
Third
him?
president. He was a
Principal?
great principal.
Oh,
You didn't like him?
No, like,
He was very
like
prim
he
and
was like,
proper,
so
yeah.
like it's funny that you say that, like,
Yeah.
so he came to grade 8, like just like he probably did for you. We're in the same grade, so grade 8 he comes to our elementary school and was like hey, like Bethlehem is opening
He does have kind of a gay voice.
I'm like this. I'm not saying it's a gay voice. I'm just saying that's his voice. I'm not saying it's a gay accent. For
So
the
that was-
record, for
he
the
did
record,
not say I said it, folks.
Yeah, for the record, it was just how he sounds.
For sure.
So anyway, he's like,
And is he still with his wife? Maybe
yeah,
not.
Yeah, we don't know. Like, so he's like, it's grade 8, and I'm like, coming into like me, I don't know what I was thinking, but
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, yeah, so this high school is opening up, and he's explaining the whole grade 10 thing. Hey, like, when you come, you'll be grade 10, so you have to go to another high school and then come to us in grade 10. And I'm like, all right, any questions? And I'm like, looking around, I'm like, well, fuck, man, no one's gonna ask. Like, you bet I'd have a fucking question. He's like, yeah, you, question? I'm like, last name's gay? Is it a coincidence that you're also gay? He's like, hallway. I'm like, serious question. Like, and like, I was
No
looking for
fucking
jokes.
way.
I was looking for jokes.
Oh
And like,
my God.
and if he wants to come on the show and testify against me, he can. Because
Oh
I said
my
that and
God.
asked it, and everybody in that grade 8 class heard it. So then I got sent to the hallway, and then he came out after the whole lecture, and he's like, if you plan on coming to Bethlehem, you best believe I'll remember you. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
Oh, that's no good.
yeah, it wasn't good.
Bad,
So
bad first step.
bad. And so
It's
grade
fair,
9,
it's
I got
fair.
kicked out of
But
Thean.
that is like such a low-hanging fruit of a joke. I would have fucking said it, dude. I don't
I
think
asked
actually.
it.
I, don't
I can't
think he
believe I
came
even
to my
asked
school,
it.
Or I honestly
Oh,
probably
he
would've
came to
did.
our school because he
No,
like
no, my
did
school.
backlights to see if we wanted like what school mascot and colors and shit.
You were at St. Peter's though, right?
Bishop Klein.
Bishop Klein. I was.
I was in Massey.
I was over in Montgomery. I
Yeah.
don't think Mr. Gay came to our school, but dude, if I was a jokester, I would have definitely made that joke.
Right,
so.
and like it was
What
funny.
the
The
hell?
class laughed, so like
Yeah.
he made me write some fucking apology note, which I did, and I ended up going to Bethlehem. And I remember first day of Bethlehem, grade 10. He like looked at me. He's like,
This is the
"You."
fucking
He's like,
guy.
"I know, I remember you." And then within like 2 days, like I remember kids getting dropped off. I'm sitting on the back of a car, and this girl drives off, and I'm like on the back of the car. I'm like, "Oh fuck!" Like holding on. Now I'm like holding on for my dear fucking life. And so I'm like,
That parking lot was wild.
yeah, it was
I remember
wild.
lots of fun
Yeah,
used
and
to
so like
happen
now
there.
this is when nobody had a car because this
Yeah.
is grade 10.
Yeah.
And so like this girl it was actually Brand Johnson dropping off Brett Johnson, and like I'm on the back of her car. She's going over to Fian, and he just so happened to look out his window as I'm like fucking holding on for dear life. And so he's like, "Office now," and I'm like, "All right." And he's like, "You're not allowed back in class, so I have to have a meeting with your father." So I'm like, "Oh man, like you don't want to have." Not only do I not want to have a meeting with my dad, but you don't want to have a meeting with my fucking dad.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want this. Like, I'm telling you, like, if he has to miss work for this shit, like, oh my god, like, I'm gonna get beat, and you might have to get beat. Like, So, next day I can't go to class. He calls my dad, sets up the appointment. My dad works at like 7. Like, he like, always goes in the office to clean, whatever. He's a pretty ambitious guy, and then
Gotcha.
so like, very strict guy, very like by the rules. In at 9 o'clock. People might not know that, but like, I had a very strict upbringing,
Okay.
and so like. He's like pissed. He's mad at me, and so like he comes to class. It's 9 o'clock, 8:30 now 9 o'clock now 9:30 now 10. We're sitting in his office. It's like, holy fuck! Like, he comes blasting into the room. He's, "Sorry, I'm late. I was shopping for pots and pans for the home ec room." My dad's like, "Are you fucking gay?" He's like,
Holy
"Is there not a home ec teacher?" And that he like looked at him like, "Did this not come full circle?" My dad literally just looked at Mr. Gay and he's like, "Are you fucking gay?"
He said that
Yes,
for real?
yeah.
Oh
I was
my
like,
god, that's
"Boom,
awesome, dude.
Mr. Gay." I was like, "What? Can I go back to
I'm
class?"
currently in here for saying what my dad just said to you.
Oh, this is for body surfing, like
Oh, it was a different. Sorry,
yeah,
it's
it was
a
for
different
body
thing.
surfing. So
Different
like I was like body surfing,
Definitely full circle.
and so like this is like 2 years later, and then like my dad's like, "Are you fucking gay? Like,
Yeah.
is there not a
Oh
home
my
ec teacher
God.
that could be shopping for like pots and pans?" But yet Mr. A comes into a meeting and he's late,
Yeah.
and so like
2
that,
hours late.
and so that was like the whole like he
Oh,
just
okay.
hated me, and so like he was just waiting for a reason to kick me out, and so like
That's fair, man.
several
That's
different fights got like uploaded to YouTube, I think, or like whatever happened. I like refed a fight between my little brother and somebody, and I ended up getting kicked out for a fight club.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
How many years were you at Beth?
So I was there till grade 11.
Grade
and
11,
then
gotcha. And that was when the fight happened.
the bullshit happened, and I went over to Bishop Murray.
Well, let me see what else we got on here. We did all that. I guess I got a couple of
What's that?
no, they're one-liner jokes I was gonna read, but I don't want to. No, that's it, man. We covered everything.
Hell
I
yeah.
think we got an episode in the books. I think we'll call it for today because I usually do. I like to do longer than an hour, but an hour is an episode in the book. So
Yeah, whatever you want
so
to do.
thanks
man.
a lot for fucking coming, dude.
100%.
I want to say thanks for everybody who's listening out there. Thanks for tuning in. And this is Canadian Talk, episode 44, out.
Right on.
Thanks for listening, and any questions or concerns for the show, as well as voice recordings and voice messages that you'd like us to listen to, or advertisement inquiries, please forward those along to CanadianTalkWithStephan@gmail.com. Thanks. We also have a website, Stephanjackson.ca, where you can find a back catalog of all our episodes, and we're also on YouTube, where you can find the video versions.